Welcome to Group Coaching Market Mastermind. This is Cedar, and we are going to run through marking key levels in the nearer time frames. We covered the higher time frame in our most recent one that's posted in our group coaching recordings channel, and this will actually build off of that moving forward. So I have an NQ chart open in my stream, and I do have two streams running right now. I have the ES execution chart that we're watching through the Cedar live stream account, but I also have the NQ just bare chart up. So if you want to pop out the execution chart, you can actually pop that out in Discord and tile it kind of off to the side and then add the second stream in so that you're able to watch both if you choose. I do need to double check and make sure our transcription is still on. It's always nice to link that to these recordings. Okay, yep, it's perfect. Okay, so starting from the ground up, and these all culminate in my 30-minute execution chart, but it takes them out and teaches the individual pieces. So the first thing that I would be looking to do is that I only have volume as far as my indicators go. So I'm going to add an SVP. And for a while, I was trying out the PVP, the periodic volume profile that I use for the monthly as the daily. We are above previous high of day on ES. Wow, okay, maybe not the right time to do group coaching, but we'll see. I may cut this short and restart it if we can get a 30-minute close above. We've got 15 minutes. Let's see what we can get through. Okay, here's our SVP. I'm going to not look at the current trading day. So what I'm really looking at is yesterday, Thursday, and 2DP, 2 days prior, as far as marking levels. So I'm pretending like today has not started to unfold yet. How I would, at the close of Thursday, go in and move the levels around, or in this instance, mark the levels on the chart for something new to look at. So using our horizontal drawing tool, and I have these set up as favorites by clicking the little star next to them so that I don't have to go over to the menu to do it. I use particular colors for each day. So starting out, in TradingView, the tool will actually remember what color you chose. So for the previous day, I use a pale yellow. It's just the one box underneath the bright yellow. And then everything I add after that is going to be the same color until I change that color. So 2DP, high of day, HOD. Nope, that is previous. I'm already getting ahead of myself. So I use the different colors and use the different, I don't want to use something that is visually similar as far as the text because it helps me identify it. So I was using the T+2 because that was settlement on the 2 day prior. Once settlement changed, then it wasn't as relevant as the previous. So the lowercase p. Oh, I'm at server mute. Hold on. Okay, I just threw that server mute on. So let me know if you're able to remute yourself and I can unmute that. All right, so previous high of day has most relevance because it is the settlement. Once we move that over Labor or Memorial Day, I believe, so May. So previous high of day, that shows over here. Now, you may not have your text settings the same as mine, so I use this as a template. I use text alignment of middle, so right in the middle of the line and to the right. It's going to default somewhere else. I can't even remember. It's been like this for so long, but this is the default that I use so that it's showing off to the right. So I have reference points of what I'm looking at outside of what the high volume nodes are from our first group coaching session. So easy way to do this is copy and paste and drag it and then just change the text. So this one is previous volume point of control, VPOC. And if I choose not to do that, then I can go to my tool and go, all right, There's my value area low. But now I have to type that again, which is not that much typing, right? I much prefer copy and paste. Oh, I hit an extra one already. Okay, so here's where I only mark RTH 9:30 open until 5 p.m. for my highs and my lows of the day. So 7 a.m., this is our data candle from 8:30. So I find the 9:30 candle and put it at the open. So that one's going to be actually, we'll move that to the wick bottom of there for the previous low of day. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with bright yellow on the 2 days prior, and then carry some other items forward. So if you use the copy paste method, the one that is new, if you're not used to looking for what those are, is going to show up with the little dot in there. So I'm going to anchor that to previous high of day. And then I'm going to change the color before I add any more. So double click takes me into the horizontal line, or going up to my quick selector and gearbox for the settings, I want to change the style to bright yellow. So I use 2 different colors of yellow on these horizontal lines because I don't use yellow for anything else. So I know that we've got a super clear indication of the difference in the days. For some people that are colorblind or not as in tune with those tonalities, maybe it's better to use 2 completely different colors. That's up to you entirely. This is just something that I've been using for a long time and works for me. So text is 2DP HOD. And the difference is visually, it's really easy, even if I'm, maybe on mobile or, not on a device that has the brightness up or whatever that is, can't see the difference between the 2 types of yellow. It's still really easy for me to reference. This is from a further day out because of the type of text. So I'm going to copy and paste, drag that one down, mark the value area high, double click to open it up. Value area high. And if you're not familiar with the abbreviations, I have key market abbreviations in the market resource channel to help with all of that, just because it is quite a bit. There's volume point of control. And low of day. Until you have done this for a while and are familiar with where the start of the day happens, just moving through the candle wicks to find it has to be after 9:30. I do mark into the 5 p.m. before the maintenance close. So a lot of people use the settlement close at 4 p.m. There's enough information for me as far as highs and lows and candle directions that I still pay attention to that 5 p.m. I will mark both of them on the previous day, but not on any previous or prior days. All right, so next one. Okay, so 2 days prior, we'll go ahead and mark that one up. I'm looking at the close, the 5 p.m. close has us as a duplicate line. So I'm going to go into the gear settings and say 2DP close. Now, since they're overlaid like this, they become a little more important for me when they're touching because we have key structure. trying to edit here and adding more lines. Still haven't decided if I want to change that in my settings or not. Must not want to change it too much because I haven't done it yet. So I add some underscores in there. The less important one, I will move over to the side. Value area is way more important than the close, although the close is important, or we would not have it in our key structure marking. The value area is, well, right? It's price, it's volume, and that is what's king. So we've been watching this stair-stepping value area high coming up. All right, so following that, we're going to move over to the previous day. So now we're going to be changing the line color. I knew there was something we missed in here. So this value area low needs a name. And I actually saved these in here originally when I first started doing them because I found it tedious to type all this out. I'm not sure that it takes any less time to click on that template and add it or not. I don't know. So up to you. I saved them all. I think I probably spent as much time doing that as anything else. We're at our 12 a.m. open for the daily candle open if you're marking that right now. So if you happen to be long, our July anchored VWAP is sitting overhead 55.81, just below the overnight high of 55.83. Okay, previous day. More information coming out of the previous day for me. So one of the first things I'm going to add is the previous day's open. So we've got previous low of day. This one's easy because if the previous low of day happens inside RTH from the 9:30 start, I can just drop my line here. I mark the RTH open with a pink line. A little brighter pink than that. I don't want it so dark that it looks like it's red somewhere. There we go. Again, back to color coding. I don't use anything else that's pink. And the RTH open tells us when screens go from green to red. So below it, screens are red, a little bit more risk off. Above it, screens are green, a little more risk on. Then we have our, and click from there, 5 p.m. close. So this is going to be back to that pale yellow. And I just mark it as previous close, and I know that that is the 5 p.m. Stretch my candles out so I can make sure that we are in the right place there. Nope. And adjust the others while I'm here. Okay, I'm going to copy that, move that to the 4 p.m. close. So if we've got 5 p.m., it's the 3:30 p.m. candle close that we're going to mark. So the candle body top. And I mark that as 4 p.m. close. It's the only place anywhere 4 p.m. is going to show up just because of the cash settlement right there. So currently we're above all of that structure, seeing some selling coming back into the previous high of day, looking at it. So it's kind of neat to see this during regular trading hours, how it's unfolding in relation to these previous day's structures. Then we have a 12 a.m. Easy way to find that is go to the number and straight up. Wherever that candle body opens is where I'm going to add a line. Maybe. This one I did not do as The pale yellow I just do as white. And again, all of this is what I have found works for me. You don't have to copy it exactly. If you're watching my chart, I think it's helpful to be able to see what the differences are as they are represented. Then we have some overnight structure that we need to mark. So overnight low and overnight high, the only red lines that are dashed on my chart are the overnight low. So I'll mark that in here. Go red, dashed line. I do use my moving averages as dotted lines. That'll be another group coaching session. Overnight low. And that's really everything from the Globex open. So the start of the volume profile, I can just find that wick low. And if you are not sure you're exact, to just move the candle over it, and just above here we see the low, 19,150 cents, and we just go over and confirm that that's here. I'm going to copy and paste that, possibly. There we go. And then go to the overnight high. So just moving on the date scale, you can see there's our data candle. There's 9 o'clock. There's the RTH open. And since we already marked that, it's a little bit easy, but it's the highest wick prior to the RTH open. I'm going to go NH, changing the color to green. A couple more lines. And these will be relevant to the current day's trade. So I'm going to add them up here. I mark these in white. I'm going to do initial balance high and initial balance low. Copy and paste it. One of them's changed to low. And so how we find our initial balance is the wick high and the wick low of the first two 30-minute candles in the RTH. So we've got 8, 8:30, 10 o'clock. So here's the wick low for the 9:30 candle. That's going to be our initial balance low. And initial balance high, you can go ahead and pick it up and then drag over and find. This one was particularly easy because A period and B period both had equal highs. We can double check that, sizing the candles up. Actually, that was poor. So we have a high of 19,591.25 and then 19,591 flat. So one tick below. And there it is. So I move all of these levels at the end of each day. So at the close of today, I'm going to move some of them entirely out of the way. So I'm going to take my IB high, my IB low, my RTH open, overnight high. Did I change my overnight low? All right, overnight low should be right there. So from a set perspective, that's where it would have been because that was the low on the Globex session before the RTH open, but I am moving it out of the way now. So we're pretending like we're closed right here. If we closed right here, I would just put it in an open space above so it's not in the way of everything. And you might have to change that from the overnight price action. But that way, when we're actually closed, if we were saying, okay, right now is the close. It's obviously not. It's 12:32, so hour and a half of trading left in the trading day. But I'm going to go ahead and take this forward so you would understand how to adjust it. I start from the top up and I say, all right, my previous high of day from 9:30 forward is this wick high. 4 p.m. close we're going to ignore because I don't actually have it, but previous volume point of control is down here. We are missing a previous value area high. So as you get more used to looking at this and moving it, which is one of the reasons why I don't have something just mark the levels, where it gives a visual piece. And once you have them set up, it's pretty easy to recognize what's missing. Because that should have been right there. Previous volume point of control. Previous value area low comes from the last level and moves up. Find my previous low of day. We know that is a data candle. So 2 over to the right, if that's the lowest, gets our wick low for previous low of day. And then we go find the bright yellow. And if they're really far apart, I'll just start slamming them up and then find the levels later. Versus making the candle shorter. 2-day prior close. And move this up here because we did not set a time for it. Oh, 12 a.m. goes up here with this overnight data. Value area high. There's the slamming up. And 2 of those. Oh, I know what happened. Did not have a value area low. So we're going to name that right there. And it's confusing, but once you start moving it, you start realizing these things have to be moved forward each day and they have to be marked. So it's almost like a Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. Okay, so zooming in. So here's an instance where I'm going to stagger them. This is not affected now, so I can remove that stagger. And we don't have a two-day prior low of day. So we'll copy. Possibly. There we go. 8 o'clock, 9:30 candle, wick bottom. Now you could do this the same way that I did the previous group coaching, where you go in and just slam all the levels in line by line. And this was the opposite way of doing that. Putting the name in on each of them as we went about adding them. What I want you to be able to do is understand why each of the names are there. And if you're looking at a chart like I just saw, hey, we're missing the 2-day prior low of day, where it becomes a quick reference point instead of just depending on the line that's there. Just because a line's there doesn't mean anything. Why is it there means a lot. So this would be what the chart would look like, minus this right here. If this were the close, the actual close, this would be what the chart would look like as I come into the maintenance session 5 to 6 p.m. prior to the Globex open, so that when I wake up in the morning, and I haven't been trading a lot of Globex lately, but if I do, I would go ahead and adjust the overnight low, overnight high, and the 12 a.m. levels. Pretty rare that I'm trading at 12 a.m. We've only seen a couple instances of that in the last couple of years, but it has happened. Then I would move those into those ranges. But otherwise, all I have to do is mark overnight low, overnight high, and the 12 a.m. as I come into the RTH trading session, which is critical for me being prepared so I understand what the reference points are around what we're actually trading. So, group coaching is complete for this week. It is a little less boring of a trading session now. And of course, adventure happens when we least expect it during group coaching. But I will see you guys on Monday. I'm going to be around trading for a little bit today, but we will have our next group coaching on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are definitely the best day for me. Did not work out this week, but the plan is as much as possible every Tuesday at 12 p.m., getting the entire trading system built out so that you can have on your charts what I have and then cross-check them with mine. And for those of you who are not in our Discord, we do have a special 1-week trial running. If you'd like to come in and see what we do, learn about our program, completely risk-free, we would love to have you come and try it out. It is one per person per lifetime, so come in, see what it is, see if it works for you. I've been trading for 22 years, and while no one is perfect, you can track my trading records through the Discord, or I also post them on Twitter if you're interested in seeing my month recaps and understanding how all of this comes together. Love to see you inside.